Events and Celebrations Committee is a week from tonight, and I think we're going to be discussing some type of spring event, but obviously it's a public meeting. We'll welcome anybody from the public. I believe the meeting's going to be held at the Tewksbury Police Station training room. So if anybody has any ideas for a spring event or open to suggestions, you're more than welcome to show up and tell us what you think. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Just a few items. The Town Center Master Plan Committee met on the 19th, where we reviewed a draft final plan from our consultant, the Cecil Group. The committee had several suggestions and requests for some changes and additions to the report, and then we are still in the process of setting up the next meeting when they'll provide a final version of that. It was a interestingly well-attended meeting. We had quite a crowd. I think members of the Beautification Committee were here and others as well. So it was nice to have company in the room. The Economic Development Committee is meeting on February 2nd, and just continuing the work that all of the various subgroups are working on. And then the last thing I'll just mention, we had Congressman Moulton was in town on the 16th. On Saturday the 16th over at the library, spent about maybe an hour and a half with residents answering some questions, both from everything from national to local. And Selectman Kravin and I had the opportunity to bring up some issues, particularly economic development and the pipeline issue as well, just to sort of keep that in the forefront of his mind. In particular with the economic development, apparently he has a staff member who is focused entirely on that within his district, and so I'm working on getting contact with that in the context of my role on the EDC. So hope to see some progress there.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. So two questions, actually, one to Mr. Panelitis, one to Mr. Gay, based on your comments. Where, with the master plan, center master plan report from the consultant, what are the next steps for others who may be interested in that?
Sure. So we haven't really yet discussed the sort of a rollout plan, but certainly the intention and the formation documents for that committee were to then bring that back to this body. And so I would imagine a presentation here. We're also considering other additional options related to the town center that aren't part of the original proposal, given the uncertainty around the fire station and where a new fire station would be located. So there's some flexibility here in the timing, and that's the reason we really don't have a next meeting scheduled yet. And so we're still working that through. But I would presume there would be a public presentation of the results, probably by myself or another member of the committee, to this board, maybe as a public hearing, so that people can see the final product that was produced. And I will just comment that I think Cecil has done a really nice job, really addressed a lot of our concerns and the residents' concerns from the two public meetings we had as well. So that would be the anticipation, and then any action on that, of course, larger action as far as plans would have to either go in front of town meeting either in May or October, depending on the sort of timeline of some of the events and some of the plans.
Did you have any public commentary after the report was presented at your meeting most recently?
We haven't received any. I did. There were, as I mentioned, members of the public present in the meeting. I offered them to make comments and questions, and a few of them did during the meeting. And I also pointed out that if they had any questions or further comments, to forward them to me, so that the committee would have the opportunity to incorporate that. But beyond that, I have not received any particular comments related to the report.
Interesting. Thank you. And just one question, one more informational, I guess, of Mr. Gay. You mentioned the police station for a meeting, and I just want to make it known to the community, I know you're well aware, but this building now has great capacity for meetings, and in many instances it's a better setup. So
yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the chairperson is scheduled a meeting. I wasn't sure whether she scheduled at the Tewksbury training room or town hall.
It's not.
I know the last meeting was here. they did have it here, so.
Because it's just, I know from my experience on the finance committee, we used to meet there, it's a tough meeting room. So I just want to make sure people know, not just you and this committee.
Well, the
but
chair
others.
person likes to lecture
Yep.
people, so she likes to look up.
Ah, I see.
That's
Well, she can sit right here.
That's going to be an excessive comment.
Our chairman does that every meeting.
All right, so I have just a couple of items. I was notified this week that, by Representative Lyons, that the home rule petition we requested be filed after town meeting relative to the residency requirements for the town manager and a change to the town charter has gone to the committee on third reading, or the House's third reading on that bill. So it's moving along pretty swiftly through the House. I don't think it's had any action yet in the Senate, but once it gets to the House, it will move to the Senate. So I just wanted to update my colleagues and the public on that. And then I just wanted to ask the town manager if you can give us an update on the budget process, just because, and we should probably kind of put this on our agenda on a regular basis for the next few months, but where are you at?
Just fine tuning budget numbers, that meeting with each of you individually to go over the budget. Next Wednesday, February 3rd at 7 o'clock, I plan to present the budget to the board. And the finance committee is invited to the meeting also. Department heads will be present as they normally are for the budget presentation. And then Thursday, February 4th, the finance committee jumps right into the budget review. It's going to be, I believe, council on aging, library, parks, and recreation. So the process starts, they are scheduled to meet every Thursday with the exception of a couple of Thursdays in between school vacation, but they're off and running in their review. So next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, budget presentation, general fund budget, and then probably within 3 weeks, I'll present the enterprise fund budget.
So for the public's benefit, when you present it to us next week, shortly thereafter, the budget as recommended by you would be published in a public round.
Once I present on Wednesday night, it will be, you've got the website, immediately after that. And we'll have copies at the library, hard copies at the library, senior center, town clerk's office. Those are all on our ones.
Sure. Okay.
Immediately, I wait till I actually present, and then I'll go to the website.
Yep. Makes sense. Yep. So, and we're going to do that meeting in the great room?
Plan is to go to do it in the big hall. My understanding is we hope to have Comcast and Verizon operational end of next week. We did some work this week, this past week. Plan to utilize the new equipment that we have. Even if we're not live on Wednesday when I present, we'll be able to broadcast it, at least show it much better than we have in the past.
Excellent. Okay. So we're going to be very close to live.
Yeah, they've been in and out doing work.
Do you know,
I don't know.
is it internal or is it external?
That's all. That's Pro AV equipment on most of the other visuals done all their work. As you can see, the equipment that's in. And they said once Verizon and Comcast are complete, they'll actually come to a meeting on that with Jeremy and make sure broadcast program.
Okay. All right, so we have that meeting next week on the 3rd. Okay. All right. All right, that's all I had tonight. So last opportunity for anybody who has
One quick thing, so also next Wednesday, we have a meeting starting at 5:30, executive session, energy aggregation, some proprietary information that we want to discuss prior to rolling out the energy aggregation plan. The Department of Public Utilities did approve our plan, and we'll be rolling out an energy aggregation education process and plan to the residents over the next few weeks, which I know many residents have asked. And then,
So one thing that you made a comment when we started the meeting, we all obviously noticed that there's new carpeting in this room. So the acclimation to the building is going smoothly, continues to move smoothly?
Yeah, we have
Punch list items?
new carpeting in this room was complete this last week. Still tinkering with the heat and things like that. That's working its way through. As I mentioned earlier, we're trying to get everything live for Verizon and Comcast.
Yeah.
I need Finance Committee to transfer some money from the reserve to us so I can buy new chairs for this room, which is really needed. But other than that, I think we're in good shape there. Yeah, the floor on the first floor, the hall will be removed and replaced over the next month.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like we rejected the way
Yeah.
before it came out. So
Yeah.
there's no issue with them replacing the floor like they have downstairs in the basement. So yeah, the building seems to be doing okay. And then any major issues, we're waiting for some signage to come in so people can work their way around the building better and into the building better. The dedication plaque was installed last week, so if you want to poke your head outside the front door, you'll see the dedication plaque. I know there have been questions on why lights are on in the building or outside. That's all for code and safety. Certain lighting has to be on all the time in the building or outside. So
Good.
it's not that anybody's in the building forgot to shut off the lights because these are all censored. They'll go off and they'll motion in the rooms.
Right.
But there are safety lights and emergency lights that need to stay on. And then one last thing I want to mention, I have, before you leave, I have keys to give each of you to the office. And we're expecting to get a new keypad put in outside that's more sophisticated than what we originally got. Once I have that, I'll get everything covered. They're all covered.
Okay, great. And how the traffic pattern or the flow of folks who come in and move things around the building is going okay?
Yeah, I think the signage is going to help a great
Yeah.
deal. I mean, it's still, people still get used to it,
Yeah.
especially once we're in community development.
Yeah.
The kitchen
Downstairs.
instead of going to the counter, but
Yeah.
they get used to it. And when people come in, even if they have trouble finding where to go, they still give us a lot of confidence on where it really is. And just to go on a little bit on what you had mentioned, there are 3 meeting rooms that are in this building, so even if the selectmen meeting on Tuesday night, another committee can meet in the
Right.
big hall, there's the conference room downstairs, so I hope to see more multiple meetings going on, to just get activity in the building. I think having energy really tonight,
Yeah.
having people coming through, residents and other committees is good because there's not a lot of interaction between committees because you don't see each other. If we have multiple meetings going on, you'll have that interaction. I think it's helpful.
Yep, so that makes sense.
Anybody wants to utilize the building, just let us know.
In the move of community development in the building and health department, the veterans agent into the building, any first impressions about that? How has that affected the DPW? They have more space now, so.
They have more
what's
space
that
and
mean to them?
they needed the space, so they're rearranging things down there to make it more customer friendly when people come into the building. So they have to move the walls and counters and making it handicap accessible and things like that. So I think that's going to be beneficial to residents. I think residents here are happy because a lot of times they're here to, you come to get a permit, if you need to pay a tax bill, it's right across the street. So I think residents find that easier for them. From a staff standpoint, it's worked out well because of the amount of people we have between the annex and the building that meetings and access to each other have been much better and more efficiencies in dealing with each other on issues.
Well, that's what we hope for, yes. Excellent. All right, thank you.
Maybe another quick question, the landscaping, is that going to begin in the spring also?
There's some things to come back and do, there's some trees they owe us that Brian Gilbert's waiting to have the plans, and then we'll see how the grass takes, but there'll be some other work that may not be part of the contract of this building, but we have funding that we want to utilize to do some work on common. To look for some road work, just on the catch basin that needs to be done around that this year.
Is that right? Okay, so just to repeat, we're going to meet here at 5:30 next week on the 3rd for an executive session, and then I think the budget presentation is at 7 p.m. which will be a joint meeting with the Finance Committee, or we'll invite the Finance Committee to join us for that,
I love the school committee also.
and the school committee. We have our next regular Selectmen's meeting on February 9th, which will be a couple weeks from now. So the next couple weeks we'll be back here, and hopefully between now and the 3rd or the 9th, we'll have live capabilities. So, all right, so we've accomplished what we set out to do this evening. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Chairman.
Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That would be unanimous. Thank you and good evening.